I'm a bit of a mess. More so than usual. So yeah, take a look behind me. If you're thinking, hey Kelly, that's not usually there, you would be correct. So normally this little river you see flowing back there, that's not there. There is a river, but it's all the way over there. This is what we call the second channel, and this is what happens when we get too much rain. So I don't know if y'all been following California, but we went from drought to way too much rain. So all of the prayers and wishes and wanting rain that we've been sending up for years apparently all just hit at the same time, and God went, okay, good. And yeah, so we're under evacuation order again. In fact, the fire department was just here about an hour ago telling us that we were under evacuation order again. And my husband was like, hey, okay, cool. I'm gonna go to band practice, peace. And he's gone now. It wasn't like that, but honestly, so I shouldn't even be filming this, but I need to. So, here's a synopsis of last week. Friday, I have a interaction with a coworker that really bothered me. It really stuck with me. It bothered me so much. It bothered me all day long. It happened in the morning. It bothered me all day long. I got home from work. I went to bed early because I was exhausted because I was thinking about this the entire day and letting it get to me and letting it bother me. And I was just, yeah. I woke up Saturday. I checked my phone, and on my phone there was a message from my best friend's daughter. It said, can I call you? I already knew it wasn't good news. This is not a phone call family. This is a texting, Facebook Messenger at best family. That's how we communicate. That's just been the way. And I was right. Saturday morning, my best friend passed away. And it wasn't a complete surprise. I don't know if I've talked about her here. Kimmy, I met in high school, and we've been friends ever since. Okay, can't talk about that. So, I can't, like, my brain won't even let me do math. In 2017, she got paralyzed. She had a botched back surgery. She had the initial back surgery. It was to take out a slipped disc or a bulging disc or something, and they took out the wrong disc. So she was in rehab, and she was trying to heal, and she was like, it doesn't feel any different. It feels like I'm still having the same weird tingling, and it's like nothing changed. And they were like, oh, whoops, we took out the wrong disc. So they went back in and ended up paralyzing her in that surgery. So she was paralyzed from the chest down. She had use of her arms, but she was paralyzed from the chest down. And since then, it has been nothing but medical problems with infections, mostly UTIs with her catheter, and just a plethora of medical. She was in the hospital more than she was out of the hospital, and in all the years since her paralyzation, she was working on a lawsuit with the doctor and the hospital. It just kept getting rejected, and they kept going higher and higher and higher. Long story short, she won the settlement, and she won a bunch of money. So she got to get her dream house. She'd been living with her sister the entire time in a hospital bed in the living room the whole time she was paralyzed. Well, when she wasn't in the hospital. And it was a huge deal for her to get this house, to get a car that was hers, that she would be able to get around in instead of having to call rescue to come take her to and from the hospital, to and from appointments. She had been in the house not even 6 months, I think, before she passed. I mean, she got it. She got it. She got to be there. Anyway, it was a hard road for her entire life. This is the best person I've ever met. She would give you the shirt off her back, like, without question, even if she just met you. Like, that was how she was. And she had been met with nothing but strife her whole life. Her parents died when she was very young. Her mom died of, I think it was a heart attack. And then a year later, she actually, at age 12 or 13, she found her dad dead, self-inflicted gunshot wound. And it's just been nothing but, I mean, abusive boyfriend after just the worst luck for the best person. There's a lot more involved. I don't want to air her laundry on, it's not my story to tell, but just know that she was the best person who had the shittiest luck. And she never stopped trying. She never stopped being positive, mostly for her children. She has 2 wonderful children. So when her daughter called me, it wasn't unexpected, but it also wasn't expected. I've been telling myself for a couple years now that I needed to prepare, because it was inevitable. She was just constantly going septic, but she kept bouncing back, and this time she didn't. Saturday was a pretty shitty day for me, and Sunday wasn't any better. Monday, we knew we were at risk of flooding. So it had been raining, and we've had one bad instance of flooding here since we lived here. I think it was in 2018. And they have these hydrographs, which gives predictions on how high they think the river's gonna get. And because of that flood, the river came up almost right to the point where it was going to come up over the lip and go into the backyard. And so we marked it on the hydrograph. We knew exactly how high it could get before it started going into our backyard. And we're like, okay, it'll be fine. They're not predicting it to go that much higher. We should be okay. Well, they underestimated. So Monday morning I got up and I looked, and the river was about where it is right here. And it was still raining, and I got up and went to work because what else am I going to do? Rob wanted to work from home that day. So he stayed home. He wanted to work from home because he wanted to monitor the river and get out if he needed to. And so I got up. I was at work by 8:30. We had no power at work. So I had been texting with my boss because she also lives along the river in a different part of the city or town. It's not a city. And she was assuming I wasn't coming in, and I said, well, I mean, what am I going to do? Sit here and stare at the river? So I'm going to go in. She said, okay, I'm going to evacuate. Can you cancel all my appointments? So I got to work and we had no power. So I called all of her clients on my cell phone and left them messages. And then I waited around for like an hour to see if the power was going to come back. It didn't. A coworker showed up and we were like, we should just go. And so we put a sign on the door that we were closed due to the storm, and I came home. By the time I got home, this was all starting to flood. This is my backyard. This was all starting to flood. And rapidly. And my husband he said, I'm trying not to show how stressed I am, but he really seemed lackadaisical to me. Like he was like, we're fine. He sandbagged the entrance to the basement is right below where I am right now. So it's down at the ground level. And he's like, I sandbagged that. There's nothing else we can do. The worst that's going to happen is the basement's going to flood and we'll be, the house will be fine and we'll be fine. We don't need to evacuate. Because not only do we have this house, he said, even if it, for whatever reason, it gets higher than it says it's going to, even though it already had, but the rain was supposed to be stopping soon. We have another house on the property that is a guest cottage, I guess you would call it. It's not really livable. It has electricity, but it doesn't have a working toilet or a kitchen, nothing. Anyway, it's higher up on the property. So he's like, if nothing else, we can go to the upper house and, hunker down for a day and then it'll recede and we'll be fine. And that was true. There was no lie in that statement. However, as I was watching my backyard flood and my next door neighbor's house completely just looked like it was about to wash away. I mean, it wasn't, but the water had gotten to his front steps and it was just gushing. And it was too much. It was too much. I was literally just having heart palpitations, just watching everything. I'm already not in a good mental state. And now I'm just watching this happen. And then when the fire department on Monday knocked on our door, Rob went out to talk to them and I just started packing the bag. I said, I can't do this. I cannot do this. And mentally, I was not prepared to deal with any of it. I couldn't handle the stress of watching it happen. When he came back in from talking to the sheriff, I said, you can do whatever you want. I cannot watch this happen. I'm sure we'll be fine. I'm going to your dad's. His dad lives a couple towns over. I said, I'm going to your dad's. You can stay here. I'm taking the dogs. I can't watch this. It's stressing me out way too much. And I had my stuff ready. I was ready to go. He said, okay, give me 10 minutes. I said, no, you can stay. He's like, nope, this is part of marriage. If you're not comfortable, I'm not comfortable, then we're gonna go. And so he went with me. We took one car because we were confident that it wasn't gonna get high enough to do any real damage. So we left the one car in the driveway, but I just couldn't watch it. I could not handle the stress of it. It was too much. So we went over to his dad's. We were there for maybe 4 hours. We just kept watching the security cameras. And after we were at his dad's about an hour, it started to recede. And that after, like 3 or 4 hours, it had receded enough that I was comfortable. There was not a lot more rain coming, and we came back to the house. The river ended up, in that storm, getting to 12 feet, I think. 12 something. And this storm, right now, they predicted it only getting to 7 something. We were like, psh, no problem, because, right? We've been to 12, and we just didn't see it being a problem at all. And we woke up this morning, and this channel was filling up rapidly. And they had already surpassed the prediction of the river. And currently, right now, the last time I checked before I started filming this, it was at 9 feet. And holding. It had been going up like a foot every hour, which is scary fast. And currently, for the last half hour, it had only gone up 0.3, I think. So it was it's pretty steady holding at 9 feet. However, there is more rain forecasted. It is not nearly what we have gotten, but it's enough to keep me worried. And so this morning I was just like, I'm over it. I'm over it. I am over, I'm mentally not prepared to deal with any of this at all. And PMS. Perfect timing, right? Although I much rather it was this week than the last weekend, because I'm not sure I could have functioned, period, no pun intended, if my PMS had hit me last weekend. Like, I don't think I could have done anything more than just put my head under the blanket and just sobbed for 2 days, which was kind of what I did. So I don't even know what I would have done if it was like amped up to the PMS level. So, so that's been my last week. I'm over it. And you know what? I'm damn sick of somebody close to me dying every time we get evacuated. Because 2 years ago, this coming August, we were evacuated for a fire that was very close to our house. And we were staying at my father-in-law's, and that's when my mom passed. So I'm like, really? Really? I've been in contact with Kimmy's daughter, and she is doing amazing. I am so proud of her. She's 19, and to have this happen and to have her be handling it. I mean, I was 46 when my mom died. I didn't handle it nearly as well as she's handling this. And I know I'm just seeing a blip in her life right now, but I mean, I'm so proud of her. Like, she's doing so well. And I know that she probably had to get really prepared for this. I know she probably has been mentally preparing herself for at least a couple years that this was going to happen. But still, how do you mentally prepare for something like this when your mom is your best friend? I mean, I can't. But she's doing really well, and I'm so proud of her. So there's that. I didn't weigh in last week for reasons. And I didn't really. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, I just kind of ate my feelings. Like, that's my go-to. I wish I could be one of those people who can't eat when they're emotionally distraught. No. Comfort eating has always been my go-to. And this was no different. I I mean, when I first got the call on Saturday, I couldn't eat because I was just crying. That's all I was doing, was just crying. And my husband, bless his little heart, I talk about him a lot on these videos, but the man, he's amazing. He comforted me as he could, and then he left me alone, and I was just laying in the bed crying because I wanted him to leave me alone. I was like, just go do whatever you got to do. I can't. And I was all curled up on the bed, just crying into my pillow. And he kind of tiptoes into the room, and he's got this bowl, this Tupperware bowl, and it's got the lid on it and everything, and it's got a fork on top of it, and it's got ramen in it, which is a comfort food of mine. And he lays it down on the bedside table, and he's like, whenever you want it, it's here. And he just tiptoes back out. And then I could smell it, and then I realized how hungry I was. And so that started my eating that lasted for I didn't go crazy, other than Saturday, where I probably ate over my maintenance calories. Sunday and Monday, I was in my maintenance calories, I think. The rough estimates that I did, yeah. But it wasn't important. And that thing that I had with the coworker on that Friday, like, that was the first thing I said to myself. That is not important. That if she's got a problem with me, that's on her. I can't. She's not going to occupy space in my head with this because it's not important. I don't even care what she thinks at this point. It's so not important. Puts a lot of things in perspective. It really does. Things you think are important, they're not. They're not. Material things are not important. What somebody else thinks of me is not important. That's on them. It's not. Hug your loved ones. Tell them you love them. Even if you think they're sick of hearing it, tell them you love them every single day. Because you don't know. Basically, what I'm saying is I didn't weigh in last week, and I didn't really care. And the only thing I didn't slack on was my exercising, and that was just because of my own mental health. Like, I could not work out. I think I would have been far worse if I had skipped any of my workouts, because that's the one thing that keeps me halfway sane, is to get the workouts in. So I did work out every single day. And after Tuesday, I mostly had reined in the eating. But again, I wasn't obsessing over it because it just didn't seem important. That all brings me to my weigh-in today. 2 weeks ago, I weighed in at 176.4. Today, I weighed in at 174.4. So I lost 2 pounds in the last 2 weeks. And given the fact that I know I ate pretty badly the first part of this week, and I'm about to start my period, I'm thinking that's pretty damn good. But here's the thing. I have officially lost 100 pounds. 100.8 if you're being technical. But I have officially lost 100 pounds. I think you guys, okay, Chewy. I think you guys know that I tend to get skeptical in saying things like that until I've got a little cushion. And I don't consider 0.8 a cushion. But I have officially lost 100 pounds. So, yay. I think probably, once I've hit that cushion, 5 pounds sounds good to me. I'll probably film more of a video talking about the 100-pound mark and kind of give you guys an update on how I'm feeling, changes that I've noticed, things like that, once I'm more comfortable at the 100-pound mark. But I did it. I didn't feel like celebrating a whole lot today because flood, panic, anxiety, that whole thing. But I did it, and I'm very excited about it. It's a huge, huge achievement. I realize that. And this may seem like I'm downplaying it because I just, honestly, I've got a lot going on. But it is a huge accomplishment, and I am very proud of myself. And it's funny, my husband, this morning, I was working out. I was just finishing my workout, and I can't remember how the topic came up, because I hadn't even weighed in yet. And he said something to the effect of, actually, I think what you've done in the last year and a half is pretty damn amazing. And like, in the emotion behind his voice was, I mean, I was like, oh, thank you. And I mean, I was like literally in the middle of working out, but I was like, thank you, I appreciate that, as I'm huffing and puffing. But it's, when you see somebody every day and you watch them go through it, and I talk about it endlessly to him, you know, or so it seems, because it's just something that's ongoing in my life. And every week he hears me say, I lost this much, I'm at now, blah, blah, blah. So I get it that it can just sort of seem mundane after a while, and I don't get a lot of feedback. I mean, he tells me he's proud of me all the time, and that, you know, I look good, and you know, stuff like that. But just to stop every once in a while and say something like that was pretty, hit me in the feels. So I am proud of myself, and yeah. 100 pounds, y'all. I don't know what my goal was. I'm so bad at setting goals, but I feel like the 100-pound mark is something I should really do something for myself. So I don't know what. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Let me know. What would you do for yourself if you had lost 100 pounds, or got you to a significant milestone in your weight loss? I mean, there's things that I was planning on doing already, like get a new pair of running shoes, because mine are almost shredded, and we're doing a 10K in February. I don't know. I feel like it should be more of a spoil yourself thing. Let me know. If you have any ideas, let me know. But this has gone on long enough. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate the couple comments I got on the community post that I put last week saying that I was not in a mental state to update. This has been a really good catharsis for me to have this channel, and I appreciate anybody watching at all. I try to comment back to you guys as much as I can. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here and encouraging me. It means a lot. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.